Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're completely flipping the script on how you view your paycheck. You know, so many of us are stuck on this crazy financial treadmill, basically believing that if we could just earn a little bit more money, all of our financial stress would magically vanish. You're sweating, you're working your tail off, but you just aren't moving forward. Well, today we're unpacking a really phenomenal concept that shifts our focus away from just generating an income to actually building lasting wealth. Picture this. We've got two friends. Let's call them Ravi and Samir. Now, on paper, their lives are totally identical. They wake up at the exact same time, they commute to similar jobs, they bring home the exact same salary, and they even have the exact same dreams for their future. If you looked at them from the outside, you'd think, okay, they're on the exact same path. But fast forward 5 years. Ravi is anxiously checking his bank account at the end of every single month, just terrified of a delayed paycheck. Samir, on the other hand, is completely calm, collected, and at peace. So what gives? Why the difference? I mean, Samir didn't win the lottery. He didn't get some massive secret inheritance. It all comes down to a fundamental shift in how they handled the exact same resources.
Okay, let's dive into this and see where things go sideways. In the beginning, they both experience the exact same cycle, right? Salary comes in, bills get paid, a little bit gets spent on lifestyle stuff. But here is the fork in the road. Ravi adopts a totally passive mindset. He just tells himself, once my income goes up, my life will be set. He's basically waiting for some magical future event to fix his present reality. But Samir, he takes active control. He actually stops and asks a pretty profound question. Where is the money I already have actually going? And is any of it being saved for my future? It sounds so basic, right? But this simple act of just tracking your money literally alters the entire course of your life.
To really get what Samir did here, we've got to separate two words that people mix up all the time: income and wealth. See, income is just the money coming in. It requires you to be actively doing something. If you stop working, the income stops. Boom. But wealth? Wealth is the value that sticks around. It's what stays, what grows completely on its own, and what continues to support you even when you're sleeping or on vacation or just unable to work. Ravi was relentlessly focused on income, but Samir was quietly focused on wealth. Think of your financial system kind of like a giant water tank. The water flowing in from the pipe at the top, that's your income. But the holes at the bottom, those are your expenses, just letting water drain right out. Now, you can double or even triple the income flowing in at the top, but if you haven't plugged those lifestyle leaks at the bottom, you're just cycling cash through a totally broken system. The tank is never, ever going to fill up until you patch those holes first. When Samir started actually observing his money, and I mean really just observing it, not judging it, he realized how much was going to rent, how much to basic needs, and how much was literally just for show. And he uncovered this super uncomfortable truth. The real problem isn't low income, it's directionless money. Samir realized he wasn't under-earning at all. He was just living without a system. And when your money has no assigned direction, it just kind of wanders away. Without a plan, you were left completely exposed to all the everyday emergencies of life. Which brings us to the very first step of taking control. Defense. Because before you can win the game, you gotta make sure you aren't knocked out of it, right? Enter the emergency fund. Think of this as your financial helmet. When you're riding a motorcycle, a helmet doesn't make you go faster. It's not gonna win you the race. But the second you hit a pothole and take a fall, that helmet absolutely saves your life. An emergency fund does the exact same thing when a sudden medical bill, a car repair, or a job loss hits. It turns what could be a massive disaster into just a temporary inconvenience. Now, once you start saving, you might think the job is done. Let's say you take a crisp 100 rupee note and you lock it safely in a drawer. Secure, right? Well, actually, no, not quite. That static cash is under attack by a silent, invisible enemy that literally never sleeps. You could check that drawer in 5 years, and yeah, the paper bill will still look exactly the same, but its actual power, that will have been drastically diminished. We all know that invisible thief, right? It's inflation. It's exactly like putting away a big box of chocolates and opening it years later only to find every single piece has shrunk by half. It doesn't physically steal the notes from your wallet, but it violently strips away their buying power. What bought you a full, hearty meal today might only buy you a tiny snack in 10 years. So just hoarding cash in a drawer isn't enough. You've got to put it to work to outpace this invisible thief. So to beat the thief, you have to grow your money, and wealth grows exactly like a tree. You plant a seed, you make sure it gets some sunlight and water, and honestly, most importantly, you just let time do its job. You don't dig up the seed every single afternoon to see if the roots are forming, right? That is the magic of compounding. Your initial money earns a return, and then those returns start earning their own returns. The growth itself actually begins to grow, eventually providing this massive shade for a lifetime.
But hey, not every seed thrives in every type of soil. Smart investing requires an actual strategy. You can't just throw your money at whatever happens to be trending online. You've got to match your investments to your specific goals and your timeline. Do you need this money in 2 years or 20? You also have to be brutally honest with yourself about your risk tolerance. And of course, perhaps the most golden rule of all, diversify. Seriously, do not put all your eggs in one basket. You want to spread the risk out to build a truly resilient portfolio. All right, now we reach a really critical turning point in this explainer, because everything we've talked about so far makes total logical sense, right? But what happens in the real world when that promotion finally comes through? What happens when you get that email saying your salary has officially increased? Take a second and really think about what you instinctively do the moment a larger number hits your bank account. Because how you handle this exact moment dictates whether you will ever build wealth or if you're going to be stuck on that treadmill forever. Enter one of the most dangerous financial traps in existence, lifestyle creep. This is what happens when your expenses automatically rise to meet your new income. You get a raise, and suddenly your old apartment just isn't good enough anymore. That perfectly fine phone you bought 2 years ago suddenly feels like a prehistoric artifact. You start telling yourself, hey, I work hard, I deserve this. And look, there is absolutely nothing wrong with treating yourself. The trap is when your entire raise is swallowed up by these upgrades. Before you know it, you're making double what you used to make, you're saving the exact same amount, which is usually zero, and you're left wondering why your old salary now feels completely impossible to survive on. And here's exactly how our two friends handled their raises. Ravi walked right into the trap. He upgraded his phone, he started dining out at way nicer restaurants, and he completely let that I deserve it mentality consume all the extra cash. His lifestyle inflated perfectly in sync with his income. But Samir, he did something entirely different. When his raise hit, he intentionally kept his lifestyle mostly the same. Instead, he upgraded his emergency fund, he bumped up his automated investments, he even spent some of that new money on a course to upgrade his own professional skills. Samir gave his new money strict orders, while Ravi just let his new money control his lifestyle. So what's the payoff for all these daily decisions? 5 years down the line, Ravi is absolutely exhausted. I mean, he's a hard worker, sure, but his entire life engine requires that next paycheck just to function. If a check is delayed by a single day, his whole world spins into a total panic. Now, Samir didn't magically become a billionaire movie star, but he achieved something honestly much better. He built margin. He has breathing space. He has absolute control over his time and his choices. And it really all comes down to this one simple truth. Wealth is not a private jet. It's breathing space. I feel like so much of the media conditions us to believe that wealth is all about flashing designer brands or driving sports cars and posting selfies from luxury yachts. But true wealth, it's quiet. It doesn't constantly shout for attention. True financial success is just a profound peace of mind. It's that quiet confidence of knowing that no matter what bumps in the road tomorrow brings, you have a cushion to soften the blow. So what does true wealth actually look like in everyday life? Well, it means not having that awful knot in your stomach as the end of the month approaches. It means when your car makes a funny noise, it's just an annoying thing to get fixed, not a world-ending financial crisis. It means you aren't leaving your entire future up to sheer luck or accidents. And honestly, most importantly, it means you can make life and career decisions based on what you actually want to do, rather than being forced to choose based entirely on immediate crushing financial pressure. It's really about building a fortress of good, boring, repetitive decisions. So how do we actually start building this today? Here is a super straightforward 4-step action plan you can implement right now. Step 1. Just track your expenses for one single month. Don't judge yourself, just observe where the water is leaking. Step 2. Build a small, basic emergency fund. Get that financial helmet on. Step 3. Automate your savings and your investments so you don't even have to think about it. And step 4. Invest time and resources into upgrading your own skills, because ultimately, your ability to create value is the engine that drives everything else. And hey, always remember that the absolute best asset you will ever own is yourself. The skills you acquire, the mindset you develop, the systems you build, those are the ultimate wealth generators. Now yes, building wealth this way is a slow, steady process. A tree definitely does not grow overnight, and compound interest takes real time to show its massive power. But look, if you never plant the seed, if you never start the system, that tree is never going to grow at all. The time is going to pass anyway, so you might as well have a mighty oak tree standing there at the end of it. Which brings us to our final defining question to wrap up this explainer. I want you to look at your own life right now. Are you just earning a paycheck and letting your money flow blindly out of your hands, just kind of crossing your fingers and hoping for the best?
Or are you stepping up like Samir, taking control, and deliberately guiding your money toward building a secure, peaceful future? Don't just settle for looking rich on the outside. Start making those small, powerful decisions today to actually become financially unbreakable on the inside. Plant your seed, build your wealth, and take your life back.